doing?
I'm good. I worked out this. Peppers. Bring them back. Just stand there in the back. Stand there in the background the whole time.
She says just stand there in the background the whole time. Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's like, we should have done that for our presentation.
Yes. Would have got bonus points probably.
For a puppo, yeah.
Yeah, always more points for a pup. Yeah. But yeah, pretty good. Worked out this morning.
That's good.
Starting
nice.
Like our gym just opened today, or no, on Monday. So I'm like, okay, let's make up for lost time here.
That's awesome. Is it going back, like, is it closing again with lockdown again? Or?
I don't think so, because it's on the res. So they just like live by their own rules. So
they're like, we don't care. We're doing our
well, they were locked out for so long. Like weeks ago, people are like, oh yeah, our gyms are open, and I'm all here dreading life because it wasn't. And I literally can't work out at home. Like it just doesn't happen for me. So
yeah, that's fair.
So I mean, there was like ups and downs because they were under like black or whatever for a while, and then so I don't know. There's a story behind it, but it doesn't matter. Either way, it's okay. There's pros and cons to it.
It's open now, so
yeah, exactly. So, well, Katie, tell me what you're thinking.
I don't know. I've just like had this idea for a really long time, and like I don't know. I don't know. I just like I don't know if I don't actually want to do it, or if I do want to do it, and I'm just like scared, and that's why I'm telling myself I don't want to do it. Or if like, I don't know, I'm just like scared that it'll be too much work, but then it's something at the same time that I've always like thought about in the back of my head. Like literally for like the past 5 or 6 years, I've always thought about like doing something on YouTube, but I just like have never done it. Like I don't know why, and like I don't know if it's like like I said, if I don't actually want to do it and that's why I haven't, or if I do and I should, because like I have a story and like people can relate to it and just like share and maybe add value to someone else's life. But then I'm just like, I don't know, there's just so many pros and cons, I feel like, and I just don't know what to do.
Okay, so I guess like the first thing to kind of ask yourself then, because it's been on your brain forever. Like I remember when we talked years and years ago, and you were saying your story to me, and I mean like we hardly even rode that day. We rented the arena and we didn't even hardly ride because like you're telling me all this stuff, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, there's a lot there, and it definitely is a story that like to me, and that like obviously you know that there's value there. There's always value in sharing your story and your perspective, and I always appreciate that. Like anyone, like you just have to think about like, well, there's a couple things. The one I'll say to think about right now is when you're older and you look back and you didn't do it. Let's say you just like put it off, put it in the back of your head. You're like, yeah, I kind of want to do, but I'm not sure. And you just don't do it. Would you regret it later? Like think back, let's say when you're a lot older, let's say you're like 50 or 60. And I'm not saying that that's even too late to even do it if you decided to, but would you still have that feeling, do you think? Like, would you still have that kind of itch to maybe share your story and share your voice for the benefit of others, right?
Yeah, I feel like,
would you?
I feel like it came on my mind again. I think maybe a bit, because like it's always the what ifs, like, oh, what could have my brand been? Like, what money could I have made? What could have been, like, especially with domestic violence rates going through the roof right now, like, could I, like, what if I could have helped someone?
Exactly.
With that situation.
Yeah. And it's not even necessarily like, oh, I want to make a huge impact and like go global and have all like a huge brand, but even just thinking small, like if you actually helped one person, like, let's say, like, I don't know, like, would you regret that? Let's say someone told you like, hey, because you didn't do your podcast or because you didn't do your YouTube and share your story and put it out there for people and try and be a supportive community, or like a person that can help someone that was in your shoes 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, because there's like Katie's 6 years ago, or however, when, I don't know when this all went down, I don't remember exactly, but you know what I mean? Like, there's people that are walking your footsteps, and just kind of have to think like, if I can't almost be like a guided support for those people, like, am I okay with that? Like, you know? And for me, with even mine, because you asked like why I did it and why I felt so inclined to do it and keep going and just doing that, is that I almost felt like I owed it to people, and that people, like, you're doing it, it's very selfless. Like, you're not doing it for like money at this point, obviously, like that's not the reason. It's the reason is like, you just, and again, you need to know your why, like what is your mission behind it. For me, and We Can Hustle and sharing the riding stuff, like it obviously first started more as a training thing, but then I realized that there's so much more things involved in that, with like just your mental performance and how you feel as a human on your day-to-day lives change how you perform with your horses. So with me, like that's such a huge area, and a lot of people feel that way. And I love that you're able to tackle a lot of aspects of just people's lives, because that's the thing that no one talks about, or they don't really want to share that. And again, if you can, I always say, like, if you can explain it in your own way, like, there's never enough information out there. And what I mean by that is that someone might have the same story as you and they made a YouTube channel. They shared their story, they shared everything that went on. They're helping people, their community, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're making that community and they're making that brand, or they're just sharing their story online. But sometimes that doesn't click with people. So I always feel that there's so much value in your own voice and how you share it, and how you say and tell things differently might just be enough for a couple people to really click with. So just because other people do it, like there's a lot of other YouTube channels out there that I'm sure talk about the same thing. Like, you're not going to not do it because, oh, well, it's already been done, someone's already talking about it. Like, if that's like a fear you might have, which I feel like people see really successful like other people doing it, and you're like, well, it's already been done, like there's no space for me. But there always is, because you are you have a way of expressing yourself and saying your story and talking and communicating, and some people might resonate a lot more with that. So it's something to always kind of keep in mind as well, is just how
that's so true.
How you explain it, it just might click with someone where they watched someone else and it didn't click. It didn't really kind of resonate with them, where your own unique approach to it, which I mean, like, you're awesome. Like, I like, you're so like you just have such a good energy about you. So like, that might be something that people need. Like, they don't need someone that's really serious and like, you know, maybe they like, you just might be that person for someone or a lot of people. And that's kind of what you always have to keep in mind. And like, for me, I just want to spread that, like, I want to spread that information for my own niche area. But for you, like, it just, that's what's always kept me going anyways, is just feeling that need to just spread the good information, spread, you know, like the positivity, the content, the information, the training, the lessons I've learned along the way. And, you know, you hope that other people have been in your position. And yeah, like, it's just always having that in your head, knowing that keeps me just keeping doing it and not caring. Like, I don't, I, even at first, I really don't think I had a ton of like fear about being judged. That's why I made my own channel, because it's like, I have way more interaction and way more stuff with my brand channel than I do with my personal one. And I think if you're to do it, you have to make kind of like your own name, like your own brand name. So you're almost working through that, not working through you. So with We Can Hustle, like, I almost am like a representation of it. It's not like Shelby talking about this stuff. It's We Can Hustle, and I'm that person. So it just makes it really easy for me to like just like say everything I want to say and have no fear of judgment. because it's not my personal brand, if that makes sense. Like it is, but it
Yeah.
isn't. So it just made it really easy because I know I'm doing it for the purpose and I know what the brand represents, and I'm just kind of being that person to share it. So, because yeah, I like talking about this sort of stuff, and I like all the horse stuff. So
Yeah.
having like, you almost kind of let go of that barrier of, oh, this is like my personal community. I don't want all my friends to see it and judge me for who I am and what I'm saying and how I talk, and like all those fears of some sort of judgment from people you already know.
Yeah.
But I found when I made the Weekend Hustle, it was so separate from my personal circle. And now I talk to people I've never even met in real life, and I love it. And, you know, like now you kind of become known for that thing. Like I'm known for, you know, the riding and all like the mindset and being positive and working through obstacles and just bettering yourself. Like I'm now that person, where that wouldn't have happened if I just stuck with my personal group.
Yeah. And I feel like, okay, so there's kind of like two parts to what I want to say.
Okay.
I kind of feel like judged by people to like step out of this and do this. Like I feel like people kind of have me like in a box. So then that's hard for me to be like, okay, I'm going to step out, and they're going to be like, or like kind of in a jealous sense because like they haven't stepped out to do their thing. I'm like stressed about their jealousy already in my head, if that makes sense. I'm like scared of what they're going to think or like what they're going to say. But then at the same time, like on my personal Instagram, yeah, I barely post anything anymore because I'm just like, I don't like, even my personal friend group, like I feel judged by. So then it's just like, what was I getting at? I don't know. It's just, I feel like I'm in a box or something. Like it's just like really hard to step out. So then it's like, okay, I hope that like, at least if I step out and do like my own thing, like those people, okay, you can follow me or not. Like you don't have to follow me. Like I won't be offended because there's like this friend thing on Instagram, like, oh, like I follow you, you follow me, we're friends. And I'm like, I don't even like I know you, but like, I don't want to follow you. So like, if that makes sense. So it's like, okay, I can go and have like this channel where I don't feel obligated to follow people who genuinely don't add value to my life.
Yeah.
Because like on my personal Instagram, I'll go on and I can't control like if there's a girl who I know and like she posts something to like brag what she's doing. I'm like, I don't want to see that. But like I feel like I can't unfollow you because like I know you. You know what I mean? And it's just like that's stressful.
Literally understand what you're saying. And I feel the same. Like my personal one, I hardly go on it because it doesn't bring value. It makes me feel like shit usually because I see these people posting and I'm like, this isn't beneficial for me at all. So I totally feel that with Instagram and just social media. So what I think you need to do is you need to step away from that. You need to develop, even for your own sake, like develop that space that is positive and uplifting. Like almost be the person, Katie, that you need. So think of Katie at 18 years old or 19. Like, where were you? Think of the person that you really needed at that point. And I always think that, I think I have it written down of just like, basically, to me, I am being the future, like I am being the person that I needed when I was 11 and 12, when I first started wanting to barrel race. And when I first started like getting, I was like, I like love this. So I always think now, 10 or 13, probably more 13 or 14, that awkward stage, like be that person now, be that person I needed, kind of like think of that as well. And I think when, if you're able to kind of separate that, and you definitely feel a lot better because then you have an account where it is all the things like that you really truly want and desire and have an interest in and brings value to you. Like all the accounts I follow on my Weekend Hustle channel are like horse trainers, my idols who post good stuff. Like it's not like a jealous thing. Like they're genuinely like people I aspire to be like. And then just authors, coaches, like things like that are propelling me forward because social media has a lot of like a ton of power. And if we're able to use that in a more positive way and actually align our lives with who we follow and who we want, you know what I mean? Like it just makes such a difference. So we can either watch some girl we knew in high school post a picture of how fabulous her life is, or we can follow someone we aspire to be like. And we're like, it's possible. Like I can do that. And for me, I think that's been really helpful. I've actually never really thought of it that much before, but I think that makes a huge difference just with your everyday seeing people doing what you would like to do. And it just kind of, it's inspiring. And I think your story can be inspiring for other people as well. So you obviously know that as well, or else we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's fair. Because like I was just thinking about all the people who have gone through something similar, and like it's really hard to talk about. So I get it, but like it needs to be talked about at the same time in order for anything to be done about it, or for things.
Really, Katie, the fact that you're even deciding or thinking or having this conversation with me about wanting to do it is already like, it's already a big step. It's a step further than a lot of people have done, because people have gone through similar things, and it is a super hard conversation. Like it is. And you obviously would know that more than anybody, how difficult sharing that information is. But there is so much to be said about being really vulnerable in that, and actually being that person to step up into that space of really hard conversations, but for a really, really great purpose. And I think you do. Like, I think like even us crossing paths and doing all this, like you definitely are that person where like you have things to offer people, and you have to be kind of almost selfless in that sense of, okay, your why, your mission behind it, of why it's important to you, and you need to just always keep that in mind of like, it's a hard conversation, but the fact like we're talking about you doing it is already kind of, I think, a step that you're more or less committed and you actually really want to do it, despite the fear or the box people put you in. Because really, like, to me, I'm like thinking like, come on, girl, people put you in a box, but make your own freaking box. Like, what? Just make something separate, like I said, so it's not connected to like your personal people that in your life that you went to school with or whoever. Keep it separate. And I'm telling you, when you do that, and when you actually become vulnerable, you are acting as yourself. You're just being really true to people, and you're actually just sharing and being honest. You won't even believe how many strangers will message you saying thanks.
Really?
I still have people,
like you experienced that?
Yeah, people send me like long messages and just saying like, this, honestly, I needed to hear this today. And to me, like, that is enough. That's enough to give me the reward, and just realizing how actually important like I can potentially be for others. And that's kind of the goal. You're not focused on money. You're not focused on anything else, getting famous. Like, I don't even know, like that's not even a thing. The thing is, if you're able to help others, then it's those people you're going to help are going to find you.
And I think like the reason I've been thinking about it more too is like just with my knee, and like keeping myself accountable, and like kind of like it's a good time right now because I'm just like kind of down here. So I can be like, hey, like I've been way down here and now I'm here, so let's like move forward together in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the journey. Like, you don't like think about who's like one of your most favorite, like either a athlete or an author or a famous person. Like, who do you have that comes to mind that's just someone like a big icon and a big idol of yours?
Probably like the first one that comes to my mind is Sarah's Day. So she started like her YouTube channel it was originally about like curing her hormonal acne. And now like I've been following her for like 6 or 7 years, and now like 10 years later she has this whole Sarah's Day brand, and like she's been able to help so many people, and just like with holistic health, and like listen to your body is like one of her mantras and things like that, and she's really helped me. So I'm like I don't know, I just look at the way like she built her brand, and I was like, that's so cool. Yeah. And like she inspires so many people.
Yeah, that's awesome. And okay, now imagine for this case, imagine that she just went about her business, wanted to make a Sarah's Day brand, but never shared anything or shared her story or shared her journey. Like she started from here with something, you know, people can be ashamed of, with, you know, hormonal acne and just always breaking out. Like that's a big thing in a lot of people. But imagine if she didn't do that. Or like, imagine if she got famous or she got successful in business, but she never actually shared the progress. And that's why you've been following her for 6 or 7 years, because every day she's a work in progress. We all are. So yeah, it's really, really cool that she can share her journey as her real self, making mistakes, not being perfect, all those things that as humans do. And she's able to share it with others, to tell others that that's okay, especially in this world where a lot of times social media can be really unhealthy and tell you that you're weird or broken for feeling how you feel. And what I was getting at though is kind of like, think of like, for me, I was thinking, let's say like a really big athlete that I love and I think have done awesome. Now imagine if they, like, how cool would it be to watch them become who they became, you know? And that's a big thing. Like for me, that's kind of like, that's my fear. And that's what scares me, is just putting myself out there and like telling people my dreams and goals, and then me trying to actually accomplish that. That's like a big like weight on the shoulders, I feel. But again, that the other things outweigh that one fear I have. Like I'm not gonna be scared. I'm like, oh, I'm so dumb. Like I'm gonna tell people I want to do this, and then what if I don't do it? And then there's a million what ifs, and it just kind of freaks you out. But again, all these things like my mission and the whys that I have outweigh that. But just think of like, if you, let's say like Oprah or someone huge, and she actually had a YouTube channel of like, yeah, I'm Oprah, this is my story, this is my goal, I really want to have like my own crazy successful show and magazine and everything else that woman has done, you know, like it'd be interesting, and other people might have wanted to follow along with something like that, and watching her journey of becoming who she became instead of after the fact. For me anyways, like that's more, I guess, like I mean, but no, it's the same for you as well. Like don't share it when it's you're done. Share it before you start. Like you said, like you're down here, if you're low, then back you coming out of it.
And like if you wait until it's done, you might never do it, because like, I don't know, you always like do one goal and then like you're like, oh, I'm not okay, now I set a next one. Like you're never really done.
Exactly.
I feel like too. So
people want to see that. That's why like with what was it, Sarah's Day? Like with her, you know, it's been 7 years because you're watching her journey and she's giving that to you, and it's inspiring. That's why you keep subscribing to her and you keep watching her stuff, because it inspires you on the daily or the weekly or however often she posts stuff. But you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, for sure.
Does that help?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do now? The other thing I'm gonna say is that there's a lot of unknowns with everything, and that can be scary, of the unknown of like, well, what if this, what if that, what if I don't have time? And honestly, okay, what if that happens? What's gonna happen to you? Like if you try and fail, is that a scary thought? Of course. Like you don't want to start it and say, I can do it, and then you don't, and then, but what's the worst thing that actually comes out of that?
I guess like you just tried. Like you learned from it.
Yep.
It's true.
Nothing Whoa, no, sorry. Nothing is not figure outable. And if you're scared of the tech stuff or how it works, the internet is full of everything. So that's not even an excuse anymore. Like you can't say, oh, I don't know how to do it. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't have this. But it's like, you can figure out. Honestly, you have an iPhone that has internet and a camera. Like I think everyone can do this if they really want to.
Okay. I don't know. I guess I feel like I should probably do it, but then I'm just like scared of the work too. So I'm just like, I feel like I need to kick myself in the ass because like maybe I'm being lazy. I don't know.
I mean, fair. I'm gonna say that it doesn't have to be perfect. Like you don't.
Yes, that's my problem. Like I'm such a perfectionist. I'm like, it's not
okay,
gonna be
Katie.
perfect. So
literally, I dare you to. How can we do this? Okay.
I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna write down your dare.
What's like a big thing, but not too big, where it's like what? But either get the YouTube channel up or get an Instagram page. And I want you to record a live story and explain, do like an introduction or something, or explain something that you've learned along your way, something that's really impactful, that's really helped you. Explain that. Explain the backstory and explain what came of it and explain what you learned. And then send it into the world with 0 fucks.
And see what happens.
I was like, do I swear? But yes, it's true. Mm-hmm. Just like for me, I don't know. I don't give a fuck. Like I'll post something and it's like, this might not do well, but I thought it at the time. And if it doesn't, like whatever, maybe a couple people liked it. Maybe more people didn't like it that did like it. And that's fine. Tomorrow's a new day, on to the next one, on to the next thought. And I totally feel that like there's almost, where's the boundary of me posting stuff? But at the same time, you have to let go of, I guess, all like the judgment that you already put on yourself thinking other people do. Because I don't think they do. And I think a lot of people honestly really appreciate you doing it. And that's what I've noticed is people that haven't done it, they appreciate someone like, you know what, good for you for putting yourself out there, because they're too scared to do it for all the same reasons you are. Yeah. I totally understand that. But it doesn't have to be perfect. Like literally just, hi, like and send it out, get some hashtags like that are relatable and just put it out there.
Yeah. I guess like I was thinking I need to stop. My question to myself was, why am I staying in the box that other people are putting me in? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Because you don't want to come across as someone who they don't think you are.
It's true.
I feel that, you don't want to step out of it because you're like, well, I'm already identified as this person. People know me as this person. But again, the thing is, I think people have different identities. People are parents, horseback riders, survivors of some traumatic experience. Like people have a lot of different titles, and you can't have people define what your titles are. Yeah.
Like I need to take like back control and define my own titles.
Yeah. Make it your own. Like this is your life. Make it like when you post, when you create that second identity of I YouTube videos, I have gone through this stuff, this is my story, and you're creating a new title for yourself. That's you, no one else. You're making your own title and you have full control over that.
Yeah, I like that. Another struggle. I'm just like, I don't know what to call it. I don't know, like, I don't know what to call.
There's ways to figure that out.
What I want to do.
Yeah, there's some tools online that you can kind of use some of your keywords. And then like when I came up with mine, I just wrote a bunch of stuff down that were important to me as far as just words and relate, like I said, keywords that was part of my audience I was trying to attract. So people yell hustle, nonstop. So I'm like, hey, barrel racers, this is kind of like a common thing, but at the same time, it's almost broader because it doesn't just mean barrel racing, but for barrel racers, it is still relatable for them. And I just kind of liked it, but you just kind of, and again, I just went with it. Like I thought of it when I was at like my one job. There are a bunch of creative people I was working with, and they're saying how like something about doing a YouTube thing. And I'm like, hey, that's actually kind of interesting. Like I'd like to kind of share stuff because I know things. Like I said, attracting Shelby at 13 years old, like I definitely know more than she does. So that's kind of my audience. And then I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, well, how do I come up with the name? So I looked online. There's a few things, like if you type in keywords, it automatically generates phrases or things, but I didn't really like any of them. And I just started writing out keywords on a piece of paper and came up with, I also thought of like can, because it's like we chase cans kind of thing. But that's not funny. Really, it doesn't really make sense like with the phrase, but that's kind of like, again, that was part of the process. Is I was like, what are things that are relatable to my audience? Like what are words that resonate kind of with them? And yeah, I came up with we can hustle, and I just kind of wrote it out. I was like, hey, that actually like is decent, and went with it. And it wasn't a big, like, I don't know. I just, again, not perfect. Like, I'm sure I could have spent a year coming up with the perfect name, realistically, or, but I think the greatest thing is just really starting. And that's what I've definitely learned just with a lot of stuff, and just with like entrepreneurs and businesses is, people make business cards, they make the site, they make everything, where like Doug, my mentor, pretty much, he just said, the only way you're going to do it or like get that result or either get that client or anything is to ask. You don't need the perfect this. You don't need business cards. You don't need a fancy website with funnels and all this stuff. He goes, just ask, like just do the thing without all the technical aspects. So again, even with the name, like a name's a bit more important because you're going to hopefully keep that for a long time. But again, don't get stuck on it forever. Don't have that as your excuse of why you're not going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can
that totally makes sense.
Like have it your name, like you can, or Katie's Rose, just throw an S in there. Like, but legit, I mean, like look at Fallon Taylor. It's just her name.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's kind of even like what I've thought. I'm like, what if I just like had it my name, but at the same time, like I have the potential to do that still. Like there's not a rule that says I can't, or I can't have like a Shelby O line of something under We Can Hustle. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like you still, like I said, like things are always changing and warping. So I think the only way you're gonna find out is if you just do it.
So I just gotta send it.
Just freaking send it. Just send it.
Just send it.
Upload and send.
That's literally send. Okay.
Yeah, it gets easier, I will say.
Yeah. How long have you like been at it kind of now?
I started on Instagram first, and I think it's been since I came back from the States, like 3 years, maybe two and a half, 3. There's been times where I was like, just like MIA for a while, like especially on YouTube. But again, then it's just kind of prioritizing, because you don't have all the time, like you don't. So again, it's prioritizing, like, what do you want to focus on? Because you have to have like the main. So for me, again, like if you're going to go like full force into creating content, I mean, there's so much, like we could probably have a separate conversation for this, but you have to think of like your main, like the main way that you're creating content. Typically, I would say on YouTube. So create your video and then you get a transcript of it. So now you get, a video, then you have audio, then you send it into a program, you get a transcript, you have a blog post. From there, you make a podcast episode. And then you have social, like little videos for social.
Yeah. Okay. So
I mean, that's like a huge topic of actually like learning how to do all that stuff. But in the like, it's really
yeah.
kind of like create once, publish everywhere. That's like a marketer's saying or something like that, where you create it once and then you don't have to keep creating it for other things. You create it the one time and you just throw it out everywhere. And that's how you really can attract more people, is by, you know, some people like podcasts a lot, some people only like YouTube, some people just go to Instagram for their stuff, you know? So you have to kind of, again, in that sense, make sure you're accommodating everyone.
Yeah, looking back, even in the 8th grade, like I remember that was kind of one of my outlets, was like going to the barn and like filming, just like making random videos about my horse.
That's awesome.
And that's always been like, yeah, I guess like an outlet for me. So
it can be fun.
Maybe it can be a creative outlet again in a sense, but then like have a bigger and more important message.
Yeah. Well, you can have all of it. Share your whole life. And yeah, if you like, I think, yeah, play with it. Don't think about the perfection or comparing yourself to people I've been doing a long time. Like, do it how you did when you were younger. Like, even with horseback riding, I literally actually wrote recently, which is kind of relevant, is that I just said, ride how I did when I was a kid. I had no fear, no pressure. I just went out and did it. And that was it. And I did well because I didn't have those stupid adult thoughts. So maybe for you, doing it, like you said, when you're younger, you did it as a creative outlet and you had fun doing it. So just think of doing the exact same thing, but with different topics, and that's it. Or anything, like do all the topics, but just do it the same reason why you did it when you're younger, or treat it that way. Like, don't think of, oh, it has to be perfect. Like, just start somewhere. And everyone says, which I didn't find very helpful, but they're like, it's gonna suck, you're gonna go through that phase, your videos are gonna be shit. And I'm like, no, I don't want that to happen. But it's kind of true. It's kind of true. You think at the time, like, oh yeah, this is respectable, like it's fine. And then a year later, I'm like, oh, like I need to change some things.
So, and then like I was even thinking like further down the line too, like, oh, how could I like potentially make a little bit of money from this? And I was like, oh, well, Shelby made a course like for horseback riding. Like maybe I could make like a course for like mountain bikers, or like when I get back into horses, like make something kind of like that too.
1,000%.
Like that inspired me. So thank you.
You're welcome. 3 sales. What up?
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's for me, again, like with those obstacles, I was just talking to Doug and he's like, so I was kind of having like a crisis and I'm like, I need to make more money. Like I have this, like I have the mission. I feel like I'm very non-money oriented and I'm trying to just bring value and be good and all those things. And then he's like, well, it's okay. What's your money goal? And this is what we talked about going over as well, is just actually writing down financial goals. And I was like, well, okay, I would like this. He's like, okay, we'll work backwards. What do you have to do? Okay, so you're selling your course for $100 right now. He goes, how many do you need to sell to make that goal? And I'm like, okay. So he goes, let's say he's like, literally, and that's where it comes of just asking and just doing it and not having it perfect in a business card, like just ask. So, and that's where I get caught up, where I'm like, I don't want to promote myself. Like, I just am uncomfortable doing that.
Yeah.
At the same time, you really, really have to be a self-promoter. And
so like push out of that comfort zone. Cause I totally can relate to that. Even with my oils, I'm just like, I feel so uncomfortable marketing, but that's what I'm in school for. SOS.
Whoa. SOS, literally. It's like, I'm in school for marketing, but I'm having a hard time like applying.
Doing the things.
Literally. But that's literally it. It's such a struggle. And it becomes more comfortable just as much as getting on camera and putting yourself out there gets more comfortable. It just will get easier. Eventually you get more,
like the more you do it.
Yeah. And that's where the whole like not giving a shit comes into play, where I messaged a ton of people, that little blurb that you sent me. So I sent that out. I made it customized for everybody. And I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. I think you might find value. It might be interesting for you. And I just had to do it. And I had to like drop that idea of like, oh my God, I'm really like being serious at this point. Like this is a sign of like being serious. I did all the work. I made this stuff that was fine. I had no problem doing that. But the second I start putting in front of people, that's where it becomes really real and really hard. And and today, honestly, I think after this call, because I talked to Doug the other day about it, about like my money goals and stuff. And he goes, ask people, just literally send a bunch of messages to them, people that you think would actually benefit from it, message them genuinely and just give them the link and see what happens. He goes, if you message 20 people and 2 people sign up, that's okay. Yeah. And he goes, if you message 100 people, then you might get like 10 people to sign up.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's $1,000. And I'm like, shit. Okay. That's like my blind spot and my mental obstacle that I need to overcome, is just pretty much just asking for business, like asking for money. Because that's what he said. He goes, you don't have a business unless you have a paying client. And I'm like, shit, you're right. So it's like, you can make the website, you can make the cards, you can do all this stuff, you can make the funnel, but until you actually have the thing that you're striving to get, you don't have it. So that's kind of one thing that I think people fall into, that just that like that battle of making all the things that they think they need, but meanwhile they're basically just avoiding the thing they don't want to do. So I'm like, true. Let me make a nice marketing funnel and people will go through it and it'll be fine. But it's like, no. At this point in time in my career, it's like, you just really need to ask and get that business. And I'm like, oh, you're so right.
Is it like kind of like going to the gym? It's kind of training yourself to do that in a sense, like putting on that hat and like getting more experience under that hat.
Yeah. And also just dropping the fear of judgment. And again, like I haven't experienced someone say, what are you doing? You don't belong doing that. I haven't had that. It's probably more in my head that I've said that, but in real life, I've had more people say, good for you. Like, this has helped me a lot. I love your videos. I love your message. Like, I've had those stories, and I've had people share their stories to me, and that's been everything. Like, that's actually real. Really cool. I've actually had that, where the fears and everything, that's just things I've made up in my head that aren't even true. So, yeah.
Shelby coming in with the tea, the fears or something in my head.
Got you. But yeah, it's never ending. Like I actually just posted, I'm like, it's all about progress every day a little bit, and it's not going to be there in one day. It's going to be there, down the road. It takes one step at a time. And I think taking the first step is it's probably the hardest, because you're actually committing. And like you said, just going to the gym, the first day or getting your membership is the hardest, because you just committed to a lot of unknowns. Oh, what if I don't feel like it that day? What do I do? Like, is it a waste? Like, what do you know what I mean? But you have to commit to that unknown future and just try.
Yeah. You have to try, or else you won't go anywhere anyway.
Exactly. Didn't you just post something about the time will pass in the Slack group? Did you say like, don't?
Oh my word, I just did. Yeah.
Don't not do the thing because the time's going to pass, or how long it's going to take, because that time is going to go by no matter what. Girl, take your own advice. It's okay. It's scary. Yeah. We're all scared. We're all scared in this world, okay? No worries.
And like the world is just really interesting right now, and I'm like, really, I don't know, I'm just scared and frustrated.
Yeah, let it out through video.
Yeah. And then Bing said something really good to me the other day, because that guy was venting like kind of about this, and he was like, if you want to be successful and like make that money and do your horse things and stuff, like people aren't gonna like you. Like you have to have the courage to be disliked anyway to do like what your goal is, because like I feel like that's half the problem. People are just so scared of being disliked, they don't pursue their like soul passion, and that's really sad.
That is sad. And put blind,
like how much control people have over us, like even just in our own heads. Like they don't even have to say it, like we're just like assuming they're saying something or talking behind our back or this or that, and like we're making it up in our own head. But then it's just like, yeah, if you are successful, people probably aren't going to like you because they're going to be jealous that they didn't do the work. Exactly. And it's just like people in life aren't going to like you anyway, so you might as well like
do what you
want to do. Absolutely. But it's just really hard to like actually put that into action.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's where the work comes in, and that's where like, you know, all those, the quote motivational stuff where it's always about doing the work when you don't want to. And really there is truth behind that. And I think if you can stay committed to yourself and your own mission of what you want to do, and you like put those blinders up, Katie, and don't think about other people, think about what you're doing and your reason. And I think really you and everyone are capable of fulfilling that dream or purpose that you said your soul has for you. Like people are going to maybe not like you regardless. So wouldn't you rather be not liked doing what you love?
Yeah, rather.
I don't know. That's actually a good point too. I never thought of that, but really like put your nose down. I like this pandemic and stuff has been really interesting because I do better, I think, when I don't have people to compare myself to. So as far as competition even goes, let's say I'm at a barrel race, I start watching people. Like I honestly shouldn't watch people, because I watch and then I'm like, well, damn, that was really nice. Can I do that? Like, what are, like, look at them, look what they're doing. And then
I'm going to implement this right before my run.
Yeah. And it totally affects and alters how you perceive yourself in a not positive way. Yeah. So when I ride by myself, I swear I'm like Sherry Servy, like I'm just like on fire. And then I go to like a race and I start judging and comparing, where realistically we need to put our own blinders up to focus on our task and our job and our purpose, our mission, and just what you're doing. I would say realistically, people don't actually think about you that much, like, which, like, not to say that in like a hurtful way, but people are so busy with their own shit in their life that they might look at you and be like, oh, look what she's doing. But at the same time, they're too busy with their own shit to deal with like what you're doing. So I always think that as well. And I don't know, I'm like positive. I'm like, I'm here for a purpose. I was very propelled to do what I'm doing now, and I really like it. And if I make a living at it, that is awesome, but I still don't regret doing it. Yeah. Because it's just fulfilled me in ways that getting people to like me never would. And I really don't care anyways.
Yeah. That's amen, sister.
Boom.
I love that.
It's been an awesome conversation. I love it.
Me too. Oh, okay. And like on the same note, I was thinking like racehorses wear blinders for a reason. Like they're just focused on their own race.
Yep. Run your own race. Do what makes you happy. And I don't know, that's kind of what I think life is all about at this point. It's just there's no competition between you and other people, because we all struggle, we all face battles, we're all human. We, like, you know what I mean? Like we're all on the same playing field. Some people just decide to actually step up to their true potential and their true calling. And I love teaching. I love explaining how to ride better. And I love the mindset stuff. I love personal development and just making improvements. It's super important to me. I don't know why it's so important to me, but it is. And I just love sharing it. And I love people when I actually get people that it resonates with. And like that makes me super happy.
Yeah.
And I don't mean I'm not making money off YouTube. Like there might be people that see my YouTube that would hopefully fall down the path and then maybe buy something from me. But as far as YouTube goes, I'm not like making an income or even the podcast. It's there to like obviously get people to know you and your story. And then if you have offers, that's more of a business thing. But as far as just doing it to share your message, you have to do it just really for that reason, to share your message.
Yeah.
Boom. Mic drop. Can't see it, but
and I guess if like I can be someone's escape from the world for even just like 5 minutes on YouTube, and it helps them like feel better about the rest of their day, because like the world's mad shit crazy, like that shit crazy started right now. And like I go, for example, to Fallon Taylor, like I love watching her vlogs, like I love her podcasts. It's just like 20 minutes of entertainment. I know she's going to probably say something that's going to resonate with me, and I get to watch horses run. Like that's a nice distraction from the world, and then it helps me like continue to focus on like my goals in my backyard despite everything that's going on. So like I guess if I could be that person for someone, and like just take their mind off everything and like make them smile, that'd be really cool.
Absolutely. And that's kind of like the mission anyways. Like that should be your main goal. Despite all the smaller, more like analytical, technical stuff, like that should be your driving force. And it sounds like it is. Like it sounds to me anyways. I feel like that you've already been set on it, but we're just unsure. And I don't know. How do you feel now? Or
I feel like honestly so much better, and I'm just like really thankful for your encouragement and like your advice and stuff, and just our friendship.
Same here. That's awesome. I'm happy. You have something, like you have a cool story, and like I said, you're a very personable, fun person. And like you said, if you can distract or encourage someone that's having a bad day, they watch you for 20 minutes and they feel better. Like that's kind of, to me anyways, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
If you can make an impact on someone's life for the better, it's just great. Like that's what life is about for me, is doing that. Then also, if you're thinking about the business part of it, not to get too much into it, but if you have those people that really trust you, like Fallon Taylor, like how successful is that woman as far as business marketing and doing all like she wants to do? Like she's really successful. And I want to be like a Fallon Taylor. Like that's my goal. Just because she does it doesn't mean the space is full. There's room for other people to do that. Like that's the thing for me as well. Like what I said earlier, it's like, don't think you can't do it because someone else is already doing it. No, there's always space and room for you as well. Like I said before. And she just has really done it. And
she like put the fear aside. Like she doesn't really care what people think.
Exactly.
I feel like
she's
just doing her thing.
Yeah, she's a prime example because she's doing her thing. She doesn't care about what others think, and she definitely, I'm sure she knows she has like quote haters and people that maybe don't like her or don't like her riding or don't like this or that. Like she's just putting herself out there for so much judgment, but at the same time it's like she don't give a shit. None.
And then she is still like so successful and like marketing horse guru, and I'm just like, I want to be that too. Like I want, like if I could, like that'd be so cool, because like obviously one of my goals is to rodeo and like go down the road. Like NFR would be incredible, and like if I can build myself a brand where in like 20 years I can like have enough business to take the time off to go do that, and like that'd be really sweet.
Yeah. Again, and that's where just thinking about, I guess, like actually making that plan of like, okay, if I want to do this, how do I get there? What are the steps I need to take? And right now, this is the best way to get in front of the people that you potentially want to sell to in a free way. And that's kind of, I'm sure, what she did as well. Like she's huge into vlogging and sharing her story and messages and podcasts, and she probably is only that successful because she marketed herself in such a way. And you kind of have to do that at this day and age. You really need to have a mission behind your brand, and you need to promote that and share it as much as possible. And then once you have those people that build the relationship with you. Like right now, I don't really have much to sell other than that course, but we were talking about like doing shirts, and I would love, like, honestly, I'm so tempted to like go full Gymshark mode and get a sewing machine and start making show shirts, because I would love to design show shirts. And I've had some people say,
That'd
"Oh,
be so cool.
I always really like your show shirts. They're so different." And I'm like, hell yeah, like that's my thing. So I'm like, I would love to do that. And again, it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just the only reason that I would be able to sell something like that is because I've kind of developed a relationship with the people online, like with all those people that follow me, the people I interact with. Like, I absolutely love it. But the only reason I feel you can get people, well, there's like books and everything, like if you have 1,000 true fans, if you had 1,000 people that just loved your message, love what you're doing, you lighten their day, they, they would buy anything from you. There's only one way to really establish that, and it's not with a funnel or a website.
And it's to like, it's doing the things.
Being there for the community. Like, you gotta be there, be that person that you needed, or that you want, that is lacking in your community. Yeah, this is gonna be such a good podcast episode.
That's exciting. I honestly forgot you're recording. It's just like all genuine from the heart.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. It's the only way to be. Off topic, but it's my mom's birthday and she wants a mohair breast collar. So I just asked one of her friends, because I was reaching out to people that have them for sale on Facebook. And I was like, I should find out what her friend's getting her for her birthday so we don't get the same thing. And then I asked her and she goes, I'm getting her a mohair breast collar. I'm like, damn it. You stole my idea. Happy birthday, Mom. You get 2
otherwise
dollars. I mean,
enjoy.
Yeah, there's worse things though to happen, I think.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't complain. Except I have way too many breast collars. Like, I have so many. I'm like, I only use it's true too. But sometimes I'm like, they're just hanging. I don't use them.
Yeah, I think like I got everything that was on my.
Okay. So my points I quickly wrote down before we talked. Points for Katie. Point 1, will you regret it? Point 2, focus on the mission, aka your why. Like, why is this important? My other point was fear of blank. So what is Katie afraid of? And I think we touched on those and then some.
I think we did too. Okay, what was number 2 again?
Focus on the mission. What is your why? And you can figure this out with a lot of tools online as well, like to write down kind of like, why is this so important? And you can look back on it whenever you feel lost and you start doubting, because that does happen as well. You're like, hey, I forget why I'm here. And then you look back at your why and you're like, oh yeah, this is why. This is why it's so important to me. And that makes a big difference as well, just to stay consistent, because you will get in ruts and you will feel like super discouraged at times and be like, just you. And that's where I think like your own ability to have personal development and to grow and improve yourself relates to this, because if you don't, you're going to get in a slump. You're going to feel like shit. You're not going to do it anymore. You're going to give up.
Yeah.
And that's where just trying to better yourself. Like, I find when I work out, I eat well, I journal, I do all the self-development things. Like, I'm trying to read and just learn. That's when I'm on fire and that's when I'm on my game. But it, like, to me anyway, I'm sure some people can be lazy bums and they still like produce great stuff. For me, I can't do that. I just get too mentally blah and discouraged. I get so discouraged and not feeling good about it. So that's the other thing for me, is why, like, what kind of keeps me going. And I feel you're the same way. Like, you definitely care about that stuff. And again, if you can actually share that with people and tell people, hey, the only reason I'm able to do so well is because I take care of myself. Like, this is the only body I live in. This is my brain. I'm stuck with it for life. So let's do the best I can with what I have. Let's learn about myself and let's, go on that journey together. So,
and try and make my brain like, we only have one. Like, I want to make it a more beautiful place.
Absolutely. Love that.
I only have one. I'm literally just like drawing a picture of like a blob that's supposed to be a brain and like have flowers in it, because like I have a picture in my head and it looks way better, but I just need to like write it down.
Tattoo idea.
Anyway. Yes.
A brain with flowers. Huh.
Like exploding out of it.
Exactly. Like our brain controls everything. And as you said, like the thoughts we have of other people that aren't even real probably is already enabling or inhibiting us from doing the thing. And that's pure brain power. So if you can change your brain, then you can change your life. Whoa. Like, when's our book coming out?
We obviously need to start writing.
Yeah. I'm just going to transcript this whole conversation and send it to a publisher right now.
Chapter, like, just get it out published ASAP.
Yeah.
What was I going to say though? Something related to like, we like put limitations on ourselves. Like we are the ones who limit ourselves.
The whole glass ceiling type deal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's where who you follow, I think, makes a big difference. Like I like to follow people I genuinely inspire to be like. And I love watching the stories of like startups and the stories of successful people. And at first I used to be jealous of them. I'm like, these people suck. Like, what the hell? But I've learned to appreciate their story so much, and just realizing like they're human. They're able to accomplish all the things that I potentially want to accomplish as well. And realizing like, I don't have a limit. And just telling myself that, like, and yeah, we definitely put our own restrictions on ourselves. And I mean, of course it's hard, like I live at home and I'd love to like, I don't have a truck or trailer at this point in my life, but I'm like, wow, I'd love to go to the States and live in Texas for the winter and blah, blah, blah. And like, that's kind of a restriction, but at the same time, like realizing, I guess you're in control of that, like the destiny there, like you're in control of that happening, and you're also in control of like fixing it and helping yourself. And that's where, I mean, that's like a huge other like full-on discussion in itself, but you know my point.
No, I totally get what you're saying.
You just actually saying, I want to go to the NFR. And I mean, of course, everyone's dream that barrel races probably is to do that. But again, there's what, like, to me, I always say, what is the reason why that doesn't happen? Like for so many people, because that is a dream. That is a common dream for a lot of people. And I always think like, why does it not happen? What are people doing? Or even myself, what am I doing to not actually let that happen? And like, duh, I'm not in the States. I'm not rodeoing. Like there's lots of reasons. And it's like, okay, well, what can I do about that? And
what can I change?
And that's probably like a form of like your own glass ceiling of your own restriction, is just being like, well, I can't do that because of blah, blah, blah. But if you actually think of like, okay, well, here's my restrictions. How do I like actually? And that's where I've been like thinking a lot. This actually recently I was Googling and researching how to write a legit life planner because I suck at planning, and I don't want to be a person that's just kind of running in circles. And, you know, there's like metaphors of a ship without a captain. Even if it's the best ship in the world, if it doesn't have a direction, it's not going to go where it needs to go type thing. And I'm like, dang, this is true. So I've been just kind of wanting to work on that myself as well, of just writing, what are my actual things I want to accomplish in this lifetime? And then how does one get there? So
that's really interesting that you say that. I was thinking about like having a goal journal. Like, you know how people have like an agenda, but like have an agenda, but don't write like what you're doing. Like write your daily goals and like your weekly goals and like your monthly goals and then like your yearly goal and then like your 5-year goal in it, and just like keep going with that.
Yeah, exactly. When I just talked to Doug the other day when I was having a crisis, he's just like it was more of like realizing the financial aspect of my life is not where I want it to be. And he's like, okay, well, like I said, he's like, tell people to buy your stuff. Like you created something, you've had people buy it, get more people to buy it. I'm like, okay, you're so right. Then he also said, he goes, one thing to think about is do a 3-year, like, where do you want yourself to be in 3 years? And he's just saying how 3 years is a good timeline because it's not too soon, but it's not too far away where it doesn't feel real. He's like, 3 years is a good gap where, you know, you can have an understanding and a really clear vision of where you want to be. And he just said it like that. And I'm like, that actually makes sense. Also, related to that is I'm going to be 30 in 3 years. So I'm like, okay, like what do I want to do at 30? Yikes. I'm like, this is good motivation. Thanks. But it's true.
Thank you for reminding me that fact about myself.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I'm like, holy shit, like, let's go. No more being a baby, Shelby.
I am woman.
I am woman.
I am kayak. Hear me roar. Yeah, that was the same with me. I'm like, holy crap, I'm going to be 25 this year. Like, I feel like I'm having a quarter life crisis.
Yeah.
Help.
It's okay.
And I'm like, I've been thinking about this since I was like 19. Like, that's a long part of my life.
Imagine if you started when you were 19.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, that's kind of like a scary thing that I think propels me is imagining if I didn't do it and how much further back I'd be. So just even a small example of the gym. Our gym was closed for so long and I was like, I didn't hardly do anything all winter. I was a butt. Like we had a few little gym workout or like a gym room in our house, but I don't use it as much as I would the gym. Like I go to the gym and I actually like push myself and it's awesome. There's like machines and it's a good time.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like, imagine how much farther ahead I would have been if our gym didn't shut down all winter. Like I would have kept going. There's no reason why I would have stopped. And I just thought that because now I'm like kind of playing catch up. So yeah, like that's obviously a smaller scale, but yeah, like if you started when you're 19, imagine, or if you start now and then again, time's going to pass no matter what. So if you start now, you're almost 25, let's say in 5 years when you're 30, like your life potentially can look so different for the better.
Yeah.
If you decide to make that change today. I like love this conversation. Like shit, I could go on.
We always have such good chats and like high level intelligent conversations.
I know. I love being highly intelligent.
I appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
I know it's
nice.
You.
Likewise. And it's like, yeah, life's so full of just like shallow, blah, blah, bullshit things. And I'm like, I dig sort of stuff. Like if I could talk to everyone and have like deep chats about their passions and what are your fears like that are stopping you and just like I think I need to be a motivational speaker. I want to be Oprah. I was actually saying that if we're going to go on this like talk, I literally was saying like there's not a Western Oprah and I think I could fill this position. And I was like saying I was FaceTiming my brother and he's like, yeah, you could be like, everyone look under your chair. There's a Robbie Phillips saddle waiting for everybody.
That'd be amazing. That'd be awesome.
Sky is the limit. Like
the Oprah of the Western.
Why am I going to put that off the table? Like, why am I going to say that's not possible?
Like, stop limiting yourself.
I think honestly, because I said that the other day, I'm like, maybe again, the other thing is like this is kind of related as I just thought of is I feel I need to prove it to myself of like what I want to do. So I was just saying like a Western Oprah. I was like, maybe I need to prove it to myself that I could be a Western Oprah and like a successful one. And with riding and stuff, it's like my like propel forward is to always just say like I need to prove it to myself that I can do it because there's a lot of really, really, really hard things in life. And to me, if I can like prove it to myself that I can do that, then I'm like so fulfilled.
Yeah.
And that's always been a thing for me. Like, can I prove it to myself that I can wake up a lot earlier than I'd like to go work out and better my body and my mind? It's like, I'm going to prove it to myself that I can do it. Or with anything. I'm going to like prove it to myself that I can make a podcast. I'm going to prove it to myself that whatever, everything.
blank fill in.
Yeah.
Western Oprah. Goals.
Look under your seat. You're gonna find a bunch of 5-star saddle pads for you.
I'll take it.
With a Shelby O line.
Shelby O by 5-star, or 5-star by Shelby O.
Yeah, whatever works. Dreams, I tell you.
Okay, this has been great.
It has.
Speaking of working out, I should probably go do that.
Yes, go kill it.
You have been so helpful, and I'm just like really appreciative that you took the time to talk with me and encourage me.
Yep.
Hopefully I will get my butt in gear and do the things. And what was the challenge? I wrote it down. You challenged me to
record a video
YouTube
and make it like as raw as possible. You can maybe do a few takes if you have to, but no edit. Just talk in front of a camera. Share your story.
My camera is just like sitting here staring at me. Yeah, I literally bought like a vlogging camera and I haven't used it.
I remember you told me that. What the hell are you doing with your life?
I don't know.
Just kidding.
It's just scary.
Just don't, like, the other thing, like don't talk bad about yourself. Like, it's okay if you slacked or you dropped the ball for a while, but today's a new day, a new you, and you have a chance to do the thing. So that's the other thing, like, talk nicely to yourself if you slack.
I'm getting better at that.
Yeah, same. Because that's what the worst thing is. You're like, oh, I'm a piece of shit. I didn't do this. And so the story goes. And then you feel more like a bag of shit. And actually, recently, I've had that breakthrough where I forgave myself if I didn't do something that I wanted to do that day. And like, I need to forgive myself and also enjoy the time that I could relax. Because like, my mind mentally is just like, go. And I need to enjoy the time to relax and not feel guilty about it.
Like, it's ingrained, just go, which is like fine, but like you need to remember the importance of actually taking time for yourself and relaxing and resting your brain.
And actually feel okay about it, not guilty for doing it.
Yeah, because if you feel guilty, that defeats the purpose of it anyway. Yeah.
Not a healthy approach. All right, well, I think that's enough wisdom for one day.
Quick question about next weekend. With like lockdown, is your clinic still happening?
Oh shit. Well, has he made the announcement yet? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, we're all can assume that the province is going in lockdown. I'm like, we're all pretty confident that's what's happening. But yeah, for those of people listening, because it's definitely gonna be on the podcast as well, I'm hosting a clinic April 10th. And it's a 2-day clinic with 2 different groups. So, well, it's like a 1-day clinic, but I'm there for 2 days. And it's supposed to go April 10th. It's April 1st today, April Fools. And Doug Ford's making an announcement, probably saying that the province is going in lockdown for 28 days. So
can we just pretend that's an April Fool's joke too?
Yeah. Can we just like, can he be like, so guys, we're going in lockdown? And everyone's like, aw. But then he just goes,
it's heartbreaking.
Then, but the joke is here that he just goes, yeah, April Fools. Timmy's has the best egg sandwiches. I am never going to get over that.
Oh my word. That's too much. Too far, Doug Ford. Too far.
Too far. No one gives a flying fuck about real egg sandwiches at Tim's because it's alarming. It's 2021. Like, what have we been eating thus far?
Yeah.
Anyways,
I really hope it's just like fine because I'm looking forward to it.
It should be because it's gonna be 8 people a day. I think it's outdoors. And
okay.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah.
You can get back to me.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay. Let's talk later.
Cool.
Okay.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much. Have an awesome day. And yeah, I appreciate you.
You too. I appreciate you as well. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, girl.
Okay.
Talk soon.
Yeah.
Okay.